I'm Leslie Short, your host. Welcome to Visibility Unlimited, the podcast, and Visibility Unlimited Spotlight, the video portion of the podcast. Today, we are doing Visibility Unlimited Social Impact. So, my social impact interviews, I don't say the name right away. I like to start with my guest by asking one, I say welcome. And then I say, please tell me, start the sentence with I am, but don't tell us what you do yet.
I am a born and raised North Philadelphian with a love of theater, art, food, music, adventures, but most of all, human beings.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. What does social impact mean to you?
Social impact to me means the ability to affect one's way of life in a positive way. To be able to solve communicative issues on a granular scale. That's what social impact means to me.
Wonderful. And for those that may have just joined or have been listening or watching, what is your name?
My name is Terrill Hegler, but I'm widely known across the city as your fave Trashman.
And that leads right into, then what do you do? Why would anyone call themselves the Trashman?
I am a community organizer, community activist, nonprofit leader who focuses on social impact in my community when it comes to the beautification of my neighborhoods, of every neighborhood, of our neighborhoods, of the neighborhoods. Oh, my bad. Let me turn my notifications off. Every time it vibrates in. Okay, I'm gonna edit that out.
Okay.
I am a community leader, a nonprofit leader, a community organizer with a focus on the beautification of our neighborhoods, my neighborhoods, communities abroad. I organize neighborhood cleanups all across the city of Philadelphia and its surrounding areas, and I advocate for every single living person in the city to live on a block that is cleaned consistently.
Oh, I love the word consistency. As I watched this past weekend on the neighborhood blogs, like, who do I call? The trash wasn't picked up. Why don't they pick up this? Why is there I have to have a blue bin if they throw everything to the same trash can? So tell us more. What does that mean for you to bring the community together? Are you hiring? Are you a company? How are you building this whole thing?
So I have a nonprofit called Trash to Treasure, and I have a for-profit, Your Fave Trashman LLC. And then I have another for-profit, Your Fave Hauling. And altogether, the three entities work as a tandem. My nonprofit does all my philanthropic work. So when I go into communities and someone's been illegally dumped on, my nonprofit usually goes in and we get volunteers from that neighborhood to go and clean to help that neighbor out. And then I use funding and grants and donations to cover the cost of the dump fee. Your Fave Trashman is my social media influencer, my brand, my PR, my marketing, where I get corporations to buy into the brand to have me organize, team building days for them. So just recently, Urban Outfitters commissioned me to do a 6-day cleanup for Earth Day. So from April 15th to April 22nd, we cleaned 6 different neighborhoods as Urban Outfitter, the Free People brand, and they were able, as a corporation, to pick up 5 tons of trash off the streets of Philadelphia. So, yeah, and then the hauling service is I do junk removals, cleanouts, and demos, and that's where I hire at-risk youth and returning citizens. So 95% of my workforce is at-risk youth or returning citizens, and I use that as a way to get them into the trades. But also, when people are hiring junk removers, they know I'm going to the dump. It won't end up in Fairmount Park or Schuylkill or Cobb's Creek or something, I'm going to the dump. I post my my weight slips and everything, so people can know and trust that I am properly disposing of all the construction waste.
And a lot of what I do also on the podcast is speak about equity.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see a disparity within zip codes, or you're just seeing at this point, this is an environmental issue, a community issue across the board?
I think it is a citywide, statewide, countrywide issue, mostly in underserved urban communities around the world. Our former city controller, Rebecca Reinhardt, she did a synopsis of trash, and her results were kind of disturbing. In brown and black neighborhoods in Philadelphia, their trash is picked up 60% of the time on time. 60%. And white neighborhoods, they're picked up 95% of the time on time. More than a 30% difference in on-time pickup. So what does that say to those residents, those taxpayers, those Philadelphians, that because of the color of my skin and the zip code of my address, I am receiving less than minimum required service from my city?
And that goes into schooling, it goes into post office, it goes into retail, it goes into health equity. This
It even goes into the gas station. I don't know if you heard, but they just found out that a lot of the gas stations in urban communities water down the gas.
wait, what?
They just had a big story in Florida where there was a gas station watering down the gas, and a predominantly Black-owned community, to save money, and because they didn't think people were going to notice, until about 15 to 20 cars broke down at the same time.
Right.
And they all traced it back to the gas.
Unbelievable. So as we speak about this, yes, we are speaking about Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but as you just said, Florida, this is a countrywide issue. We see the landfills. We know what's happening. If the trash even gets to landfill,
Exactly.
honestly, it goes within our water systems. Why it becomes a health equity? It is across the border how it affects each of us and how we live.
Even gun violence and crime. Eugenia South, she did an amazing study. They had 1,000 abandoned lots. They cleaned 500 of them and left 500 dirty. And in a year's time, the ones that got cleaned, gun violence and crime reduced up to 30% just because those vacant lots were cleaned.
Because if you can see it, you can believe that there's something more, that someone sees something more within not only you personally, but your community at large. And it's a shame that I think it is psychological. If you see trash all over, you may not walk the 15 feet to the trash can to put it in. If, right? Tell me this, if there's a trash can in your neighborhood.
Right. I mean, I say all the time, if you live in trash, you start to become trashy. If you see nothing but filth around your so-called sanctity, your home, your peace, what other mindset do you have but then to deem yourself trashy and filthy? So we begin to normalize living in filth. And then that's how we've normalized living in crime. We've normalized living in, all the things that we've done because it started with the outside, which is why you go downtown and there's trash cans maybe 20, 30 feet apart on every corner, but you go to 22nd and Lehigh and the trash cans are about 200 feet apart.
Right. Unbelievable. Tell me this. What is the why behind the why? Like you said, kind of why you do it, but what's really the why behind the why? You start this.
I was a sanitation worker for the city of Philadelphia during the pandemic. And to see 400 sanitation workers catch and contract COVID and have to quarantine and no one talk about it was really disheartening. And so that's why I really started the Instagram, is to advocate for sanitation workers. And then one thing led to another, and I realized the bigger picture is advocating for clean streets. Because if we clean the streets in Philadelphia, sanitation workers are safe.
Ah, that is very true. And I don't think most people think of it that way. I don't think most people think about, even this is my personal pet peeve. I'll say I'm biased. I like dogs. No one come after me. But I do have an issue, I think, when I see dogs urinate on trash bags, because my first thing is someone, a human being, has to pick that up. And just because they are working with trash doesn't mean that they're any less of anyone that is doing a job for a living and actually helping you beautify where you're walking.
I said it when I first got started. I said, people forget that sanitation workers are human beings too. I go to work, I deal with stress, I deal with kids, my kids' drama, I deal with death. I lost my mother in 2020 and still had to go to work and only had 3 days off. They gave me 3 days to grieve. And it was, are you coming to work tomorrow?
And you may not know this across, but our Senate, and this is why I'm asking my next question, not to dismiss that, because that is, if anyone knows me, they know death and dying and that grieving process is a very important process to continue to live and to be and to settle yourself and others around you. Is it because sanitation workers are union or not union, or it's just policy and procedure?
Policy and procedure is union. We're DC 33, part of the union. That's what they've deemed the standard to be, 3 days. And then you have to bring the obituary or something back to prove. And that's where it all starts for me. It's like that was the first time, even before my mother's passing, that I was working a job and I felt dehumanized.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in the world was getting hazardous pay. Grocery workers, home health care, nurses, sanitation workers did not get the hazard pay.
Really?
Even though there was 40% more trash on the ground in Philadelphia during the pandemic, where it would take us 40 houses to fill the truck, we were filling it with 15.
And that's because people were home. So even though they weren't out and about, it was
But
all.
not everybody was home because sanitation workers were not allowed to miss work.
Right, right. Yes.
I've had a gun pulled out on me on the route.
Okay.
For
If you don't want to share a little bit more, though.
People didn't know that styrofoam wasn't recyclable. Styrofoam is actually trash. You're not supposed to put styrofoam in the recycle truck.
Right.
On the recycle truck, this guy must have ordered maybe 45 boxes of Amazon. And so he had 45 boxes worth of styrofoam.
Right.
And we didn't take it as a recycle truck. And he was so frustrated that he pulled a gun out on us and told us to take the styrofoam, or he was going to go off. And I had to think, was it worth losing my life over that? But that goes to show you the lack of education that comes with knowing about recycling, waste management that residents here have in Philadelphia. And then it goes back to just the frustration of being less than. Why does the cleaner neighborhoods have pamphlets and recycling workshops and seminars, and our neighborhoods are just left to kind of figure it out?
And so what you're saying, I'm going to translate here for a minute, is that that the one poster that's if you're in an apartment or something, that's by that trash dump off doesn't really cut it, because that's not education. That's still a sign.
I'll give you a quick story. I had a chance to go to Austin, Texas, and I couldn't find trash anywhere. I mean, I'm looking behind movie theaters, everything. And I got to ride with their sanitation workers for 3 days. And I said, well, how did you guys do it? And the commissioner at that time said to me, I have a 15 to 20 person comms team, communications team.
Right.
We send home information, education. We make workbooks. We do coloring books for the kids. We give our residents information, education. what's to do, what's not to do every month, to the point where they were able to teach the residents of Austin, Texas, how to compost through sending home pamphlets and then add it as a service. So now they pick up recycling, trash, and compost as a city.
And New York does the same thing. It is brought back, and your trash cans were sent to you. You didn't have to go find one. Uh, if you wanted to do that, each house was assigned as many as they needed. And, if it was a double house or something like that. It is important because it just turned what is, some people just think of a city service into a service for the community. Like, I think we disconnect things that we feel that doesn't apply to our life. It's just, you put it out on Thursday, you put it out on this. Here's one thing that I will ask about the city of Philadelphia, having just come into the city of Philadelphia as well. The fact that trash is picked up one day a week is amazing to me. We had 3 days a week in New York and residential that trash was picked up, including recycling. And so you saw a difference. I think by the time you get to Friday or Wednesday, whatever your day is, and you're putting it out, you look and it's halfway down the street. And so that keeps adding to it. And then if it's not the right thing in the right place, it's just left there on the street. And it just becomes, I just see a rotating cycle.
Yep. Philadelphia is the last big city to manually throw trash. Every other big city has the arms for the standardized trash cans. And there's a perception that if we add the arms, we'll lose workers or people will be fired. And I keep trying to explain that you actually add efficiency. So where do you have one truck that handles 50 homes? If you take a worker out of one, you can create a whole new crew. And now you have 2 trucks doing 25 homes. So now we're ensuring that every house is picked up on that day. And I've been preaching that message since 2021. But when you have the powers that be that are kind of I call the dinosaur age, and they're stuck in their ways and they don't see any growth, as long as we continue to have the same people in charge, we'll have the same results.
I think we have to add it to just what we said: health equity, environmental equity. I think we have to bring it all together so that people can see that this is a full circle. And this is one of the reasons I wanted to do this interview. And someone may say, oh, this is a little awful. What do you normally do? Diversity, equity, inclusion, culture. This is exactly diversity, equity, inclusion, culture, because this is each of us, how we live, regardless of how we walk. Trash affects us.
I said to somebody the other day that, I do a lot of quality of life issues. Mm-hmm. And someone was like, trash isn't quality of life.
What?
I said, how isn't trash quality of life? They was like, yeah, how is trash quality of life? I said, if your sanitation worker doesn't come for a month, does your household continue the same? If you have to hold all the trash in your house, you then the bugs, the smells, the fumes, all those things. Like, what happens? It's a quality
of life. Yeah,
your quality of life is affected because of the trash. So it's all about changing people's mindset. That's where it really starts. Social impact comes in with changing people's mindset.
So then how do you shake things up? How can you shake it up?
You by being loud. You have to be loud, and you have to get people to buy in. I'm a big sports fan. The team can only win a championship with a new coach as if everybody on the team buys in. We got to get everybody in Philadelphia to buy into the fact that they deserve to live on a clean street. I have a T-shirt that says, let's unnormalize normal.
I like that. I like that a lot. You need to get me one of those.
But let's unnormalize normal. Let's get out of the fact that it's normal for Philadelphia to be dirty. Let's get away from that. Right. Let's make sure that if I said this 2 years ago, if every single Philadelphian from the months of June to October. Took every third Saturday and cleaned from the steps to the curb and 4 feet in every direction. And then we went and put all the trash bags at the end of the block, and sanitation workers got a OT day once a month where they got paid double time to work on a Saturday and pick up all those trash. Philadelphia would be clean in a year.
Right. Wow. I'm sure someone else listening to this that's not in Philadelphia will really take these suggestions into play, because again, this is not only happening here, it is happening throughout in other cities. It is happening in other towns, maybe where a shortage of workers are happening.
During the pandemic, New Orleans sanitation workers went on strike.
Yes. New Yorkers, they go on strike quick. The sanitation workers.
Listen, I think their fingers like this on the button.
On the button. They have no problem letting you know.
Yeah.
Work it out.
Philadelphia has a no strike clause.
Really?
But that's another thing.
Something else. That's something else. Okay, we're gonna stay focused. What do you want the world to know? What should the world know about what you do, how you're doing it?
I want the world to know that cleaning and greening a community will make it a community. Getting back to those minimum requirements of what a community is, getting back to being nice to your neighbors and speaking and doing things as a group. And like I said, that third Saturday, everybody coming out, cleaning up, and then somebody gets on the grill and all the kids are outside. Getting back to that can solve so many other problems. I use this analogy. If you have one empty cup and you have a cup full of water, is it easier to pinch the water drop by drop to transfer it, or do you pour the whole cup? Let's solve all the problems together versus idolizing one or isolating one. And we're only going to fix gun violence right now, and we'll worry about everything else. And we're only going to fix environmental justice, or we're only going to fix homelessness. No, fix it all together. If you can do all of them together, and that's what I need. I need the world to know that it's time to fix every single thing together. Better together is one of my favorite.
We're always better together than singular. And I understand we have to focus on singular actions, but I think part of the conversation, so I come from the other side, okay, corporate, we can't do everything. So, but you can have conversations and start to build. You have to be strategic on what's the bigger picture,
right.
And how do you start to roll it all out, even if it's not all at the same tier at the same time.
Right.
But instead of singly, like you said, we're only going to do this, we're only going to do that, we're only going to focus on this. Here's the big picture, and this is how we're going to focus. We can have many different conversations and actions happening.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I love that you have corporate companies getting involved. How are other ways that corporate companies can come and whether work with you, or if you're listening in another state or a city or country?
I'll come to another state or city. I'll come to another state. But easiest thing, get on my Instagram, DM me, my LinkedIn. That's how Urban Outfitters found me. They found me on LinkedIn. They inboxed me and we started working together. And that's the easiest thing, my social media. And I think that's the easiest way.
Right. And so companies that are always saying we're looking for a way for your employees to be involved, that you want to do something different in this social impact space, you can look what's in your community and see who's doing what.
Mm-hmm.
And then reach out to them and work with them. It makes a difference.
Yeah,
make
it does. It really does.
Build it into your budget. It doesn't cost much to get gloves and bags and picks.
And cover the dump fee.
Right.
That's it.
Right. I love that. So people should care about social impact. Why?
People should care about social impact because the social impact impacts all of us. Whether the issue is your issue or my issue, our issues will cross at one point in time. And so if I care about what you care about and you care about what I care about, then we care about what us care about, if that makes sense. Absolutely. And so we end up unconsciously helping each other reach goals. And the famous quote, You want to go fast, you go alone. You want to go far, you go with others. And so let's all do it together. I don't want credit for cleaning Philadelphia. I don't want the credit. I tell people that all the time. I want Philadelphia to get the credit. I want somebody to say the whole entire city started a movement together and they cleaned themselves up. One person shouldn't get credit. We all have to be a part of the solution.
Absolutely. John, I want to say a few more things before I let you go. One, congratulations. I saw that you have your own trash truck now. What?
Yes,
Sanitation truck?
yes. I purchased a trash truck. I know, crazy. I purchased a trash truck. It would be one of the first ever commercial use trash trucks where you yourself, Leslie, could hire my hauling company to clean out your basement, and instead of a roll-off dumpster or a pickup truck or a dump truck, I'm rolling down your block with a trash truck.
Unbelievable. And does it hold the same as
This trash truck is one of the biggest that they make, so it holds close to up to 15 tons.
And hopefully no one's coming out with 15 tons of the house, but things happen and things shift and you can be doing outside, inside. There's no judgment. It's about getting it clean and being able to move. So I just want to, I'll do that little disclaimer. Watch the shows. Things happen.
Yes.
Wonderful. I will let people know later on where they can find you. But again, can you give everyone the best place, your LinkedIn?
Yes. So my LinkedIn is my first and last name, Terrill Hegler, Terrill, last name Hegler, Haigler. And my Instagram is @ your fave Trashman, YAFAV Trashman. I still run my own social media. I answer all my DMs. Let me know I may answer 2 to 3 days late, but I will answer. I will answer.
That is true.
And that's where all the magic happens. People DM me pals all the time, and I post them and I tag council people, I tag the elected officials, and it gets picked up.
You do, and I love seeing where people have gotten to the point where they are tagging you, and hopefully this will this will grow into more than just tagging you, but that it will be a community effort that people will have to stop tagging, and that we will have a cleaner city, more people involved in knowing that this is a social impact issue that impacts all of us. So I am so happy that I had the opportunity to speak with you, that I get to see you around town and watch people react to you and to what you're doing. So I just would like to say thank you as well for who you are and what you're doing. It is appreciated.
It's my pleasure to be here. It's my pleasure to be able to advocate on your space to your audiences. Again, it's that better together. As long as people like you keep giving people like me the opportunity to use our voice, we'll figure it out. We will figure it out.
We will get it done for sure. Thanks again. Everyone, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. As always, I appreciate you taking the time to listen and watch. Continue to on Visibility Unlimited and check us out on the Cavu group. Thanks so much. Everyone have a great day. Bye.